to the quick overview of my new Twizy. I've acquired this car, it's a 2-year-old, had it now for about a week, just over. Haven't really done many miles yet. Most of the time I've just been spent customising it. Done a few bits and pieces to it, which I'll run through in more detail in later videos. Primarily, initially, well, starting from the first thing I did, I noticed the heat it was giving off by both the front and rear light clusters. So I swapped the, on the front I swapped the bulbs for LEDs, both the daylight running and the main, which were halogen. I know that there are the angel lights out there which you can get, but one thing that puts me off those is having to swap them every year when you try and get your MOT. And I'm sure it'll change at some point, but it seems mad that they don't allow them. But anyway, the easy alternative is just to get LEDs. I've got them both front and back. Again, there's no heat on these whatsoever now, whereas before you could literally warm your hands on them. I suppose useful in the winter. So I changed both the front and the rears and the reversing light. Don't bother with the indicators because obviously you hardly use those. They don't draw a great deal of current, flashing every now and again. But the main front and rear they do draw quite a bit of current. I did notice when I took the rear cluster off, it's quite easy to get off actually. It's just literally just remove these two, and then it's just standard star. Removed them because I've noticed there's a lot of condensation inside. When I took it off, I managed to empty out about a cup of water. So obviously there's some sort of flaw somewhere, and that the water's getting into it somehow. I don't know if it's through the top or just through the seal. Anyway, I've tightened it back up. I mean, that's the one thing that LED bulbs probably won't cope with is water, so I'll have to monitor that. Next thing I did was I had the Twizy windows, and as good as they are, they're very noisy, rattling all the time. So I thought I'd look into alternatives. There are really only one alternative out there apart from the Twizy, and that's the nearly, well, 400 odd pounds. So I thought, instead of spending that amount of money, let me try and do it myself. So I basically bought some tinted acrylic. I bought 3mm, although 2mm would have been sufficient, to be honest, because that's what 2mm, that's what the Twizy are. Then I just took the Twizy off, used all the fittings around the door. Didn't want to put a window in. I thought, do I really need a slidey window? I mean, it's odd that, I suppose it is useful having a slidey window, but you know, for the times I need it, I just open the door. You know, I'm not constantly opening the window and shouting out at people. I usually think it's insult, so that's probably a good idea not to have a window. And so I just cut them out. The acrylic cost me £80 including delivery. I say it was tinted grey, so it's almost identical to what's in the bottom of the door, and it fits. I'm quite pleased. The next thing I did is I bought, I thought, because there's no seal, they're not really designed, obviously the whole car is not really designed to keep water out, it's designed to let water run through it, but you don't really want to get wet if you can help it. So what I've done, I managed to get on Amazon, is buy this special door seal. Basically it fits really snugly onto anything up to 3mm, and then you've got this nice bit of rubber on the other side. I'll show you what it's like. I've got some here. This is, it comes in a pack of 6 meters, and it's basically just like that. So basically fits slots on, then it has this nice spongy bit. I haven't fully tested it in the rain yet, but well, I'll let you know. But what I do like is, obviously, the other thing is insulation. So really what you're trying to do, as well as keep water out and rain out, you want to keep noise, because there is quite a lot of road noise, I've noticed. Another thing I'll go into in more detail is the engine as well at some point. But at least with these, I managed, what I did is I started off at the top of the door and then literally just ran it round completely, right the way around, even along here. Now there is a bit of clay here, I've noticed, where I'm shutting the door. I'll cope with that. It's basically split a little bit there as well, but that's fine. That's just wear and tear on the door. Obviously the idea is that I've got one complete seal. If I didn't need to take the windows off, I suppose I could literally just cut it around about here and trim it back a bit, but at least it creates, hard to do it with one hand, I'll give it a go. Yeah, managed it, that's good. It creates a really nice seal. Now if I'd done it, I copied the line of the Twizy windows. If I'd done it myself, I would have probably given them a little bit more, so that there'd be a bit more flush fitting at the top. It still creates a seal. The seal definitely all where I've looked on the inside, there is a little bit of a light, you can see just about here, there's a little bit of a gap. And I'll work out, but around the bottom, I'm really pleased with around the bottoms. There's virtually no gap at all, apart from here. Obviously there's a curve here, so that's impossible to completely fill. I've managed to put it on the inside of this as well, so that gives a double. And up around here, obviously again, I might fit something in here actually, because I've noticed, move things out of the way, there is a gap there, but that's obviously the swivelling part of the door mechanism. Hold the camera correctly. What you can do about that. But yeah, I'm really pleased, and again, obviously there is a gap just down here. The only other thing I've got to work out is this, it sticks out a little bit. I'll work out, I'll adjust that at some point. So I'm really pleased with the windows. In total, they've cost me I had to buy two sets. I bought 2x6 metre, I've got a lot of excess, but each one is 3.5 metres. So I needed 7 metres in total, so one 6 metre wouldn't have been enough. But they're £26.99 on Amazon. And plus the £80 for the windows, or the acrylic, tinted acrylic, that comes to just short of £130, which, well, is to be honest, from my perspective, I think it's a good deal. Or just over 130 actually, but you know, compared to £400 for the real top-notch windows, which although they've got the sliding window on, I'll see how I cope without a window actually. And the fact that you won't get the noise as such and you won't get any leaks through the window. I might get them around the edge, but not through the actual window itself. So that's the big job I've been doing. I then fitted the last sort of thing I've done. I fiddled about inside. Now, yeah, opening them, you got to literally just pull it back, put your arm down. It's the other thing of having a window, but that's fine. Do it with one hand. Yep, you can just obviously. What I did then is fiddle about inside, trying to find places to mount things. I don't like sticking stuff in the window. This works quite well. It's sat here, to be honest. It actually seems to hold up quite well, although it's literally only just fit. It just seems to fit perfectly in there. When the phone's in, it holds it. Same with the GPS on the other side. I'm looking for a smaller bracket actually, similar size to this one. Then carpets. Obviously it comes with the standard plastic carpets, but what I did, I looked at options. There's nothing really, so I just went to. I actually got these from B&M. I bought 2 tiles, anthracite they're called. I think the 50x50s. Use one at the top and then the other one for the sides. I'm quite pleased with how they fitted. I actually cut them from around the plastic. Next time if I do it again, I'd actually join these better. I actually put a join here, which obviously is almost invisible because it's quite a long, obviously that's longer than 50 for one tile, but you can hardly see the join, so I'm really pleased with those. Just a bit of extra comfort, but it's also sound. So it's also soundproofing, and it gives a bit of extra insulation. The other thing I noticed is underneath the seats here, Malcolm, I think his name is, there's obviously a bit of storage space, but what I've put in there is I've put some foil, well, not actual foil, it's sort of insulation stuff. I'll show you what it is, can't really take it off with one hand. It's this stuff here. This is meant for insulating lofts or stuff. It's quite heavy duty plastic, tin foil coated plastic. So I put some of that in, cut it to shape and put it all around the back, the sides. The idea being it helps to keep a bit of heat in, cold out, and also a bit of insulation. I've put some, there's a little sort of plastic bucket storage. I've put some foam insulation in there. Obviously if I need to use for storage I'll just take it out, but it obviously helps to try and insulate engine noise. Now referring to engine noise, it's one thing that I'm surprised at, because I've owned electric cars. I've had 2 Leafs, and obviously the whole thing about an electric car is they're silent, almost. This is far from silent. What I'm surprised at is the noise, the engine noise. It gives a right old whining noise. Don't quite know why. I'm assuming it's partly to do with the fact that you're literally sat on the motor and there's virtually nothing between you and it. So obviously putting a bit of extra insulation, such as the carpets and padding, will reduce it slightly in decibels. So yeah, hopefully we'll see how that pans out. So I'll give you more details on installation and putting in carpets, windows and the LED bulbs in separate video. One other thing that I fitted, which, well, 2, I managed to get from Pound Shop, £5 they are, these cob lights with remote. Basically fitted them as internal lights for the front and rear. It worked really well, I'm quite pleased. So literally more powerful than a normal internal light. You can have them on a sort of dimish mode, which is probably equivalent to an internal light, or obviously super bright. You can even have them on a timer, and they're AAA batteries, really easy to take off if when I need to. Just sort the batteries out and screw back in. Also fitted, I've looked at the sound systems, and obviously you've got space for speakers up here. But I thought, well, for now, rather than fiddling about that, I just fitted an old Bluetooth speaker that I'd got lying around. Just managed to put a couple of brackets on it and just sit it here, and it works quite well. Might bash my head on it occasionally if I'm not careful, but it's rubberized, so shouldn't hurt too much. But I'll see how it goes. At least it's a start. If I'm really keen to improve the sound and the system, then I'll replace it.